What is up, everybody? Welcome to Married with Media, and we are here today for another review roundup, TV and movies, and just everything that we've been watching over the past week. So we did this last Monday, so it's been about 8 days since we've done this. We did a vlog video where we went to see ZOLA in theaters, and we're going to talk about that maybe just a little bit more in depth. Don't have to go into it too much, but we're gonna talk about all the things because we watched a lot of movies over the weekend.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
a lot of good ones.
I don't know where. Do you have anything you want to say before we get into it? I feel like I talked too much.
No, I'm good.
Okay, we did have somebody in the chat though. We got 2 people in here. So again, guys, if you're joining us for the first time, hit that subscribe button. If you're in here right now, hit that like button. Also, be sure to engage in the chat if you've seen any of these movies. We're going to be covering The Tomorrow War, Fear Street 1994, Zola, Till Death with Megan Fox, The Return of the King. We're going to wrap up our Lord of the Rings series, and we're going to maybe talk about Loki episode 4 if you want to get into that. So let's see. We got the Blu-ray King in here. He says, "Oh yeah, let's go." And he says, "I bought $70 worth of movies today. My wallet hates me."
I bet.
You and me both, buddy. You and me both. Let's get into talking about Fear Street, Part 1, 1994. A horror movie that's kind of a throwback to the old Scream movies.
Yeah. So when I heard about this, what are they calling it?
It's like a trilogy series.
Film trilogy.
But, it's on Netflix. I forgot to mention that, but it's on Netflix, and this is part 1 in the 90s. The next one's going to be in the 70s, and then after that goes back to 1666, which is like, a play on 666. But
is it 66 or 64?
It's 1666.
Oh, okay. So when I had first heard of it, I was super excited. We read like Goosebumps growing up. Yeah. So we didn't read the Fear Street, book series, but.
While you're talking, I'm going to bring up some of the information.
Okay. So I was super excited when I heard about that. When we sat down to watch it, we had to kind of give it a go twice.
Yes.
I don't know if
we watched it over I'd say 2 nights, right?
Yeah, so we started watching it
because we watched The Tomorrow War, and then that was like a 2.5 hour long movie, and then I had to go to work the next day, so we cut it off right there. It opened up very strong, and it has all of those like 90s slasher vibes. Like it feels like a Scream movie, and you got Maya Hawke in the beginning, and spoiler alert, and we're gonna try to not do too many spoilers, but she gets killed like in the very beginning of the movie, and after that I don't know, it kind of goes downhill for me.
Yeah, I feel like they maybe tried a little too hard to recreate all the 90s horror stuff like the Scream and all that. But yeah, it started out very good, and then I feel like we kind of got bored, or at least I did. And then we kind of quit watching it for the night. And then I think it was like a few days later when we were like, we should go back and
finish it.
We kind of like picked back up like when we stopped paying attention. Yeah. And I will say, I'm glad that we gave it, I'm glad that we finished it because, by the end of it, it was okay.
Well, it was pretty good, and I'm excited for next week because we get to go to camp. That's more my slasher type.
Right. I think that I'm hoping that the next one is going to be a lot better.
Yeah, and I feel like this is one that I might look back on a little bit more fondly because that's the thing with the 90s slashers. Outside of Scream, a lot of them aren't really that great anyway. They all tried to mimic the style of Scream, and none of them were ever as good, and this one just felt much in the same way. The cast was okay. I didn't feel like they had a whole lot of charisma to any of them, or none of them were really very likable at all.
Right. I mean, like you said, they killed. Is it Mila or Mila?
Maya Hawke.
Maya. Okay. Hawke. You know, they kill her in the very beginning, and she was probably the strongest actress.
Yeah, I mean, no shade to the other actor. I mean, the one actress was from the Panic show that we just watched.
Right.
But to me, like, yeah, she wasn't good in that show. To me, she was fine. I mean, I don't want to like.
Yeah.
These are all actors and actors that are just getting started, so I don't want to throw too much.
It's like they're not terrible. I feel like it's pretty like on par with what is to be expected from that type of movie. Yeah, so I don't know.
So I know you don't like me talking about directors, but this was directed by Leigh Janiak, and she's supposed to be directing all three of them. Okay. So all three of the movies, and she directed a movie that we watched called Honeymoon with the girl from Game of Thrones, and I don't know if you remember that, but I know that we watched it. It's got if that rings a bell to you.
Yes and no. I can't really remember.
I know that we watched it. That's the only thing I can remember about it. But yeah. I mean, I'm looking forward to the 70s. 70. Even though I did say that it's going for the camp slasher in the 70s, but that didn't really start. The camp slasher started in the 80s. So I think it's weird that they're going back to the 70s to do that. They should have just had it like 1980 or 1981 or something.
Yeah, I wonder if they did it on purpose because there's like so much 80s stuff going on that they're like, let's be a little different and do 78. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. You're probably right. You're probably right on point there. The Blu-ray King says it looks good. We got AJ in here. He says, hey, folks.
Hey,
AJ, how you doing tonight? Talking Fear Street. I know you watched Fear Street, and he actually sent me a message on Instagram and told me that he didn't like the movie, but he said I would appreciate the final kill. Or not the final kill, but like one of the kills at the end. I'm assuming that you're talking about when they stick that guy. Or was it the girl? It was the girl. They put her on like the cheese grater.
Oh yeah.
Which was a pretty gnarly death scene. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that whole little like grocery store like scene was pretty good. The one thing that I think what made me not like this movie as much as I could have is the whole like supernatural twist on it.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, I
think the whole reason they had that in there is because they're trying to link all the other movies and time periods.
And it's kind of like the only way you can do it, unless like, maybe like the killers are related way down the family tree or something. Yeah. That would have been another way to do it without the whole like supernatural stuff. Yeah. But yeah, so
I mean it's solid. I didn't hate it. I was a little bit annoyed by some of the characters. It is a little cheesy, but to be fair, a lot of the 90s horror movies were cheesy. It was trying to pay tribute and homage to those, and it achieved that, I think.
And I mean, it's fun enough. It's fun enough.
It's fun. It's a fun Netflix movie. I mean, we didn't have to pay for it other than our Netflix subscription. So maybe if we went to the theaters, it'd have been a different story. But
yeah, so
Ken Pope's in here. Hey Ken, how are you doing tonight, man? Said hi, guys. AJ Rack says the supernatural twist made me more interested. I hated everything about this film except the lore. I mean, I'm excited to see how they link it and how they do the 70s one. And maybe when we get to the end of all three of them, I'll appreciate them all for what they are and for what they do.
I know the 70s one is going to have that one girl from Stranger Things, which
she was good on that show. So I'm excited for her to be in that.
It's like, it seems like it's like a lot more of a mature movie. Yeah. There's like sex and all that stuff. And
this one was definitely mature too.
But I mean, like as far as the Stranger Things girl, I just picture her still being this like little girl.
Yes.
And so I feel like she's probably going to be a little bit more mature in this movie, but
yeah, and it's I'm interested to see the other ones, and it should be it's cool. I had something I wanted to say, but I forget what I was going to say.
The second one comes out this Friday, so yeah, I'm excited.
Yep, second one this Friday, and Rev 4K is in the chat. He says, "I'm tired."
Did you just get off work, or
he might have just woke up from a nap?
Maybe.
I know how Rev loves his naps.
Yeah.
Tiana Loves Movies is here. She says, "Hey, well, what's up, Tiana? How are you doing tonight?" AJ Reacts 2 says, "If I would have seen it in the theaters, I would have been so upset." Yeah. So, and then he says, Maya Hawke was in Stranger Things, and she died at the beginning. I know. I wonder if the other girl from Stranger Things will die at the beginning of the next one.
Was she really though?
Maya Hawke?
I don't even remember
Yes,
that.
she was in the third season. She was the she worked at the ice cream place with Dustin and Steve.
Oh yeah, I remember that, but she dies?
No, I think he was saying that she was in Stranger Things, but then she died in this one. Like, what the hell? Like, why would you cast? Plus, she's Uma Thurman and Ethan Hawke's daughter. So, but again, that was paying tribute to
and she
to
was
Scream.
and she was in Mainstream.
Yeah.
She's been in some other stuff too.
Yeah, but that was paying tribute to Scream because when Scream came out, the only real star in that movie was Drew Barrymore.
Yeah.
And people didn't know Nev Campbell and Skeet Ulrich and Matthew Lillard like they do now.
That's kind of funny to think about. Maybe
and they killed her off the very beginning. They did that intentionally.
Maybe they are aware that she is like the bigger star.
Yeah. So I think that was a part of the Scream homage. I think what I was going to say was it was far gorier than I thought it was going to be. Like when I didn't even watch the trailers, but I just assumed it was going to be a little bit more kiddie. Maybe like that show Creeped Out, that little kids anthology show that we watched.
It's not kiddie.
And it goes for it. It has some good kills.
And then in the preview for the next one, there's like a scene where I don't know if it's the next one or the last one, but there's a scene where like that kid has like a baseball bat and he's like bashing in somebody's head.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. So
looks cool. But yeah, the killer in the next one, didn't he have like a bag over his head or something?
Yeah.
So that's paying tribute to the baghead Jason, which I love. Let's see. Red 4K says Fear Street pulled a ghost ship. Fantastic opening. Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
It was a really great opening. It was a good opening. AJ Rex 2 says paying tribute to Scream for sure with the parallels to Drew Barrymore. Yep. So yeah, let's get off of Fear Street and move into a movie that we quite enjoyed on Amazon Prime, The Tomorrow War, starring Chris Pratt.
Yep. And I've heard like, I mean, this happens with everything, mixed reviews and feelings.
Apparently the critics are going after the movie because of Chris Pratt and they feel like it's a conservative thing something.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's just something I heard. I'm not trying to get into that, but
yeah, well, Chris Pratt is like very patriotic.
Yes.
And I probably shouldn't get into that either, but I love that because I feel like most celebrities are the opposite of that.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know.
This movie also had J.K. Simmons in it as the father, which he's been popping up as like random dad and like pretty much a lot of things we've been watching, like Defending Jacob. He was Chris Evans' father.
I know, in prison,
So he's like popping up everywhere, but I'm here for it. I love J.K. Simmons.
Right.
Which you didn't even tell me. I didn't even know he was in it because, again, I don't watch the trailers unless I have to.
Right. It was funny because I know he loves him. And right before I knew they were about to introduce him, I was like, do you know who his dad is? And he's like, no. I'm like, it's your favorite. And he's like, who?
And I'm pretty sure I said J.K. Simmons before he was announced. Like, I know you're talking about J.K. Simmons because, I love Whiplash, and that's kind of a joke with us because you don't like it.
I mean, I just don't love it like you do. But yeah, J.K. Simmons, he's like a very buff, kind of tough dad. He has this like bald head and beard. And I mean, he's pretty badass.
He's gotten a lot more buff since the Spider-Man days. That's for
right, sure. Yeah. But The Tomorrow War, like I said, I know there are mixed reviews about it, but I actually really enjoyed this movie.
I thought it was awesome.
Yeah,
I thought
loved it.
It felt like a spiritual successor to like Independence Day. I even felt some aliens in there.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I thought
at the end with the when they're in the mount or the snow.
Yeah. Well, that I referenced was AVP because that's in the.
Oh, okay.
They're in the snow. I was like, this reminds me of
like
AVP,
when they went down and found the ship and.
Yeah, because it was the ssame concept in that one. The ship had been there for a while and all that stuff. So, but yeah, we're getting into spoiler territory. But I thought that there really wasn't. It's not like a perfect movie. It's not a masterpiece, but it's a summer blockbuster film. Like you would get in the 90s, like with Independence Day.
That's how I would describe it. I feel like it was like a good, fun summer movie.
Yeah, and not even like it's not really even that fun because there is a lot of doom and gloom in the movie. Well, that's
true, yeah.
But they do try to inject some comedy in there here and there when they can.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Pratt, he's good at that.
But it was really good at like building suspense and tension, in particular in the scene where they teleported them back in time, and they accidentally dropped them like in the sky.
Right.
And this is like in the very beginning of the movie, but that scene could have been played for like comedy, like, whoops, look what we did again. But I thought the way they did it, it was like they were genuinely like, oh crap, we really screwed up, because they didn't have the technology figured out yet.
Yeah,
which I thought was interesting, because they didn't really know how to use the technology, even though they were trying to use it to transport all these people through time.
Right. Yeah, I remember that scene, and I was kind of like, ugh, because like right before they transported them, they're like, oh no, something went wrong, and like they couldn't do anything about it, because like they were supposed to only be dropped like a few feet from the ground, but they were just like randomly dropped, and so people were like fallen from like skyscraper distances. And
yeah, it was a really good scene with the guy hitting the side of the building.
Right,
and everything.
it was pretty.
And another thing I liked is they didn't show the aliens right away. They didn't even show them in like clips or nothing. And they explained that later on, but like, we don't want to show the people what they're going to be facing, because if we did, like, they'd be killing themselves before they even went into battle, which I thought was just made it like, oh well, shit, like what do they look like? Like it made the tension ramp up that much more because of that.
And then I remember telling you that I felt like it wasn't too like CGI.
Yeah,
like I felt like
good effects.
Yeah, everything looked really good. It wasn't like too, over the top and fake looking. And I thought the aliens were pretty cool looking.
Yeah, it was a cool design. They had like tentacles, and they like shot spikes and everything. I said they kind of reminded me of the Dead Space aliens a little bit, just how they had to kind of like shoot off their limbs and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, they weren't like they were like serious aliens.
Spikes.
Yeah, like they were like scary. Like they weren't goofy or anything like that. Like I felt like the aliens in Independence Day, they kind of made light of them a little bit, and they were a little bit goofier like when you saw them. But I don't know. Yeah, I enjoyed it. And like I said, they didn't show them till like 45 minutes into the movie, so it gave you a good time to build up to them.
Right.
But the only thing I didn't love about it was just the logic of it. Like I said, like why?
Oh yeah.
Why would they go back in time to recruit people in the present to fight a future war instead of sending people back from the future to help prevent the war? That's what didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, whenever you get into time travel, it gets super confusing and messy.
But
but I try not to think about it too much,
because then you wouldn't have a movie.
Right.
So I mean, it was an interesting premise.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed the movie.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it quite a bit. Rev 4K says, I heard a lot of people absolutely hated it and others loved it. Not much in between so far.
Yeah.
I love Chris Pratt. Yeah, I like Chris Pratt. I don't feel like he's done a great movie. Like the Jurassic World movies aren't I'm not too high on those. Guardians of the Galaxy, they're good movies. But yeah, Chris Pratt needs another blockbuster series. And yeah, this is a good movie. Too bad it didn't get released in theaters. It would have made a good theatrical experience. But I know we didn't rate Fear Street, and rating always gives you anxiety. But what would you rate?
I don't love rating.
What would you rate Tomorrow War if you had to, out of 5? Buckets of popcorn, whatever rating system you want to use.
I'd probably give it, I don't know, 8.5.
Oh, you're going out of 10 this time. We were going out of 5.
Oh, okay. Well,
you gotta stay consistent.
I told you I don't.
I'd say then 4 out of 5.
Yeah.
I'll do a 4 out of 5 for you. I would give it a very solid 3.75.
Okay.
3.75 out of 5. And for Fear Street, I'd give a 3. I'd give a 3 out of 5 for that one. All right, let's move on to ZOLA. And we got to talk about ZOLA for a little bit in the car vlog that we did. But do you have any additional thoughts now that it's sat with you for a little bit longer? Do you like it more? Do you like it less? How are you feeling about ZOLA about 3 or 4 days later?
I mean,
5 days later.
I haven't been thinking about it or anything, but I'd say I still feel about the same as I did when we came out. I thought it was pretty funny, which I said before. And, I thought one of the main actresses, I always forget her name.
Oh, Riley Keough.
Yeah. I just thought her character was hilarious.
She was. She played that.
And like I said, she wasn't, it's not like she played a comedian or anything, but like the character that she was portraying was just, it was hard not to laugh at.
Yeah, I agree. What'd you look down at?
I don't know. I thought you were like in pain.
No, I agree. She was completely hilarious. The other actress that was in
looking.
Was let's see, Taylor Page is I think her name. That's the one that was in it with her. She did a fantastic job as well, and she was in the movie I watched on Netflix. I forget what it was called. The one with Chadwick Boseman, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
Oh, okay.
And she was good in that. So an up-and-coming actress right there. Yeah, I think she did a great job. This movie had a little bit of the Uncut Gems effect on me. Like I was thinking about it even more after I saw it. I'm like, was that great? Like, was that a great movie?
Well, I told you that it reminded me of that.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah,
you hit the nail on the head. But it kind of fell off a little bit. I did say in my review that I don't think I'll ever watch it again. I don't think that that's true. I think I will watch it again. I'll probably buy it on Blu-ray. Added it to my A24 collection. But yeah, I like the movie.
Yeah,
I like the movie.
I bet you did with all the ass shaking and.
Oh Lord Almighty! Let's. What would you give that out of 5? Did we rate that in our vlog?
I can't remember.
I bet you like the full frontal male nudity shots as well.
Yeah, I mean, there were parts where it was kind of uncomfortable to watch.
Yeah.
Like whenever, because it went from like being like a stripper pole dancer to basically being a prostitute.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of uncomfortable to watch some of the sex scenes play out. But yeah, I just remember so many times where I kept like looking over at you and just like busting out laughing because
hilarious.
Of like what she would say.
I mean, the scene where she does like the revisionist history and like tells the story from Riley Keough's perspective.
Right.
And she's like, Jesus Christ, my Lord and Savior. Like that was hilarious.
She was like, I don't mess around with that no more. And then she was like, I don't know. I can't even think of all the stuff, but it was just so freaking funny.
It felt very much like not of reality. Like it felt like a kind of like a dream in some parts, just the way they were like, just the editing tricks that they used and just like the way that they directed and stuff, the style that was used. It felt like a very like dream-like film.
But like, what's funny is that there are people like that. Like I've met them before.
Oh yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like
them.
her performance is like dead on, like accurate. Like she was. I think it's her best performance. I'm not the biggest Riley Keough fan. She's usually good in everything. It's just the movies she's in aren't always my favorite.
Right.
This is hands down to me her best performance her entire career.
Yeah.
At least of all the ones that I've seen. So we also got Nicholas Braun in this one, who was pretty funny. I thought he brought a good amount of comedy to it.
Yeah, from Succession.
And the pimp, was really good. He was really threatening and intimidating when he threw on that Jamaican accent.
Right. Whenever he would get pissed or upset, he would like start talking like with this Jamaican accent.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
he was excellent in the movie as well. So yeah, it's not a movie that's for everybody. I don't think it's definitely not like a feel good movie. It kind of has one of those like non-endings.
It's kind of like
there's like
it's
kind
like
of an
a
ending,
train wreck that you can't quit watching.
Yeah,
like you can't turn away from.
And it had those like Spring Breakers vibes in there as well. And to me, like this was so much better than Spring Breakers, just the way that it wrapped up and concluded and everything. I thought Spring Breakers was an absolute mess. So,
and like the ending where the boyfriend, he's like, "I'm gonna kill myself," and I mean, I won't like go into too much
you're heading
detail
into
with
spoiler
that.
territory.
But she was like, "Why you gotta be so dramatic?" Like, and like that, like I just.
Is that why you're wearing the pigtails?
Oh, she had pigtails. I didn't even think about that.
I think they weren't they? I don't know.
Or she had like braids, kind of like dreadlock type braids, I think. But
yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know. It was like weird and inappropriate and uncomfortable, but like good. I don't know. It's just one of those like rando movies.
I like movies that make you feel weird and uncomfortable. I like movies that make you feel something. It's like not just you're watching it and just like, I'm bored when I get on my phone.
Right.
Like I wasn't bored at any point in that movie. And I think it was only like 90 minutes too. It wasn't too long. So yeah, Zola. I would give Zola a 4 out of 5, to be honest. I think I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
I liked it. Red 4K says Zola didn't interest me based off the poster alone. The poster's nice though. I can see it making a great Blu-ray cover. And AJ Rack says Zola was yikes. What was that ending? I wonder if you're talking about the scene with the guy doing that thing. Michelle calling Ken out. Yes, she is. She absolutely is.
I live for it.
The pee scene was odd. What's the pee scene? Did I forget about the pee scene?
Oh, when they're in the bathroom and you can like, their like ass is kind of in the air. And you're like, why? You're like, why are they peeing like that? And I'm like, well, because they're in a public restroom and they don't want their ass to touch the seat, which, you know, they're like or the one girl is not a prostitute, but actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, what was the other girl's name? Who was like semi-normal?
Her friend, the one she brought down there?
Right.
The actress name is Taylor Page. I don't remember her name in the movie.
Well,
I'll have to look it up.
Now that I think about it, I think it was showing.
Zola. It's Zola. That's the name of the main girl. Yeah. Duh. You
like want to think it's the one girl. But I think what they were doing in that scene, now that I think about it, is so the like normal girl, she was like squatting and not setting her butt on the seat. And she wiped. And then it goes over to Zola and she's just sitting down pissing and she doesn't even wipe. She just gets up.
Yeah.
So I think it was like showing the differences between the two of them.
There you go.
Yeah. So
only here on Married with Media can you get
the pee scene is
girls peeing,
breaking it down for you.
Peeing from the perspective of a female. So
right. Yeah.
There you go. That's what we can offer here at Married with Media. But the only thing I could think,
it just clicked actually.
The only thing I could think about when I watched that scene, because they were showing it from the top up perspective, is the scene from Not Another Teen Movie where they're up in the thing and they're watching the girls and the one boy's like, "Girl, go pee, not something I want to see."
Yeah, and he said that when we watched the movie
I said it in the theater. Let's see. AJ reacts to, is Zola high, mid, or bottom tier A24? There's a lot of high A24s for me.
But there's a lot of
there's some lows.
Right.
And there's quite a bit of there's quite a few that I'm like, I don't know about that one. I don't know how I feel about it. I guess I put this in the mid.
It's definitely mid or high.
Yeah, I would put it in mid. I'd put it in mid. It's not like, but this is a movie that I could get on Blu-ray and go watch it a couple more times, and it might grow on me.
You keep talking about watching it a lot.
It's not the reason why.
I know, but it's like I'm going to watch it a few more times. It just sounds.
I like to rewatch films, especially ones that I'm not like 100% sure on, but I don't know. Stranger Boy 101 says hi. What's up, Stranger Boy? Good to have you in here, man. 4KD Ray is in here all the way from New Orleans. He's on vacation right now, so thank you for joining us. Rev 4K says, so they did a squat and spray. I guess that's what you would call it, right? Basement Blues says hi, and AJ is laughing. There you go. So yeah, let's move on to something else, something that you may not get to call me out as much on. And that's the Return of the King. So this is the return of our Lord of the Rings series that we have on the channel. We watched The Two Towers and Fellowship last week. We talked about those.
Yep.
Return of the King. I've got a hot take on this one. Not really a hot take, but this is my favorite Lord of the Rings movie now. And it was not going into watching it. I did not remember this one being as good as it was. And now I would put it as my favorite. It's always been Two Towers because of Helm's Deep. But I put this one. I still don't love the ghost stuff because that was like a cheat code to me. They just kind of come in and clear everything out and it's over. But yeah, there's a lot of great scenes in this one. And I love Return of the King.
Yeah, so if you weren't here with us last week when we talked about the other two, we watched these with our kids.
Yeah, and we're mostly talking about new movies, but we could also slide in a couple old movies every now and then. We just watched them all in 4K.
Right. Last week we talked about, like Lord of the Rings came out when we were like, I think we said like middle school, maybe high school for you.
Yeah. I was a senior when this one came out.
Right, but like the first one.
Yeah, we were dating.
But yeah, so we were like, I mean, I for sure was a huge fan of Lord of the Rings. I don't remember if you were like a huge fan as much, but
no, I've never been a huge fan. They're definitely higher up on my list now than they were.
Right. So yeah, just a little backstory, which you might think like with kids, it might be a little mature for them, but I guess like our parenting style is a little different. Yeah. We're more like, what do you say? Like Lux.
If you don't run out of the room, then you can watch it.
Like as long as someone's like, you know, as long as it's not too like, you know, like Fear Street, like style gore, yeah. You know, like traditional like fight scenes.
It's
and stuff.
Fantasy gore. It's
right.
It's a different.
So anyway,
and they don't really show a lot of gore in these movies.
Right. So
it's not Game of Thrones.
But yeah, it was just really fun watching it with them because, yeah, you know, they're super long. They would get a little restless at times, and we did like take breaks. You know, in between. But overall, they really enjoyed them too.
Yeah, they were locked in.
And so that was super fun because, like I said, growing up, we loved them, or I did. And so, yeah. And I have not like rewatched them in like many years. And so it was so nice to watch them again. And I loved them, you know, just as much as like when I was younger, and it was just like very nostalgic, and there were just like so many emotional scenes, and I don't know if it was because of the nostalgia, like it just like brought me back. The
real MVP. Well, there's two of them on time, but the real MVP performance of this whole movie to me was
Gandalf and Sam.
It was Sean Astin as Sam. I thought he was so good, just like in the final scenes, like. Yep. Because he basically has to carry Sam on his back, and he's carrying all the emotion of the story on his back as well.
It's like he was the most true and faithful servant. Like he was just, I mean, yeah, he was like, he's definitely that
and
friend.
Our son hated Frodo.
Oh my gosh.
I got to where I hated Frodo, like the last hour of the movie.
Well, I will say, so I talked about this too, how I had a huge crush on Frodo. And I still like Frodo, but like, he's not like as likable as like I remembered, I guess.
No, but it's intentional. You know, I mean, he's wearing the ring, so obviously he's going to become more likable.
Like, I still like Frodo. Like, he's not like this despicable person or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting to like, as you get older, like the different characters that you might be drawn to more. Yeah. And I was kind of making a joke with you. I was like, how did I have a crush on Frodo? Like, it's clear that
Viggo the Aragorn was the real babe of the series.
Is the hunk of the show.
And I said in about 20 years you'll be saying that about Gandalf.
And hey, don't get me wrong, Gandalf is a sexy grandpa too. But he was like, I don't think he swings that way. So
but that's the other thing I was going to talk about though with Gandalf is I didn't remember how badass he was in this one. Because he's like, he comes in, he's knocking mother effers in the head with his staff. Right. He's taking over the kingdom. He's like leading the armies.
Right.
He's fighting. Like he does so much in this movie that you don't see in the other ones.
He's like, he's like badass, but he's like also like he has this like cute little playful side almost.
Yeah.
You know, like when they would like,
and he's yelling at the Hobbit. He's trying to protect the Hobbits, and then the Hobbit ends up saving him, and he gives him like a little smirk, like a smirk of approval.
Right. Yeah, I just, like I said, tons of emotional scenes. Like by the end of this one, I'm like almost bawling. And then like whenever I start to get like emotional or like start crying or whatever, like all of them make fun of me. Like my daughter will be like, "Are you crying?" And then I'm just like, "Leave me alone." And then he made a joke. as I'm like trying to hold back tears, he was like, it was like one of
Well, we got into the 15 different endings, and we're all jumping on the bed. It is pretty cheesy. But it's also emotional too.
It was one of the scenes where Sam is like giving this real like heartfelt speech, and you made a joke. He was like, hobbits have I
said a hobbit love is a deep love.
A hobbit love is a deep love. And I just like, I was like laughing and crying at the same time. It was like very.
When I seen Gimli run in there, I thought I remembered, maybe this is like a parody video or something, but I thought I remember Gimli jumping on the bed with them.
I feel like that happened.
Maybe the extended versions. I don't know.
Did that happen in the second one where he gets stabbed, maybe?
I don't know.
Because, like, Frodo gets stabbed.
No, he doesn't. If it was going to happen, it was going to be in this one. But I don't think Gimli ever jumped on bed. I just thought he was in that moment.
But, like, I kind of feel like I know what you're talking about.
I feel like it was like a parody.
I don't know.
Like they did like a parody, and maybe the actor took part in it or something. I don't know.
But yeah, like the ending. Well, okay, so the scene with Gandalf and is it Pippin?
Yeah, Pippin.
Like, you know, Pippin thinks that they're about to die because, you know, the army just keeps getting further into the castle or whatever. And like Gandalf is describing basically like what heaven is like, how it's not the end. And like, so that's like a really beautiful, like heartfelt scene. And then, of course, the very ending where Frodo goes off into, I forget what they call it. And, you know, he's saying bye to all his little hobbit friends. Like that is super emotional. Like I was just dying.
Yeah.
So
it was it was great. I mean, the when they were coming to take over the kingdom, and they were just the build up to that, and they were like firing off like pieces of the towers and the buildings like out into the crowd, and they're all like shooting the rocks up there, and it's all building up. And
then like when Aragorn
yeah, I didn't love the elephants either, because I wasn't sure where they came from. I'm sure there's like lore behind that, but
yeah, I don't know.
You were trying to explain it to me, and I'm like, are the elephants on their side? And then they clearly weren't. I'm like, what the hell? They got to fight elephants now?
I know. I'm like, how did you not remember that? Because they show them in the second one.
Yeah. That was a little bit too much for me.
Yeah.
The elephants and the ghosts, take those out. I think it would have been a little bit better. You could have had the king come in, because that was a great moment when the king came in. I can't think of his name, but the one with the daughter that was with Mary on the horse.
Yeah.
They all came in to like help him.
His death was kind of like, I don't know.
Yeah, he got killed by the wraith, but that was a badass moment we can talk about that with the girl. And it was like we were talking about, it was like everybody gets so pissed now, like when there's like badass female moments, because they're like, oh, it's woke, or they're trying to make a point or something.
Right.
Female representation and all this stuff. And I was like, no, they were doing that back in 2003, but nobody was complaining about it when it was in Return of the King, you know?
Right. If we could just go back to people not bitching about like literally any and every little thing.
Is it a little hokey when all the girls in Marvel get together and like do a thing in Endgame? Yeah, but it's like, it's no different than they've been doing forever.
Right. And it's like, I mean, you can ask him. I am like not a feminist or whatever.
No, you're like the opposite.
In the least. Like I am just, you're a guy and you're a girl, and there's no reason to be like, oh, you're a badass because you're a girl, and oh, you're a badass because you're a guy. Like it's just you're a badass or you're not a badass.
Yeah.
But that scene where
I always said though, girls, like females, just look more badass, like in the warrior role, than men do. That's just my opinion.
I mean,
that's like one of my favorite action heroes. Probably my favorite of all time is the Bride from Kill Bill. I love Uma Thurman. Just as far as like action hero.
Yeah. But the what was the? I mean, it was what Saruman.
Saruman.
And what was that guy though? The one that she killed. Did those have a name?
That was they were the ring race. I can't remember if he had a name or not. But it was the 9. It was the 9 men with the rings at the beginning. You know, they gave 9 rings to the men. That's who they were.
Wasn't he like the main one or something? Or
he was the main one?
Because I feel like they just concentrated on.
He was the main one, but then the other 8 went to the wall at the end. But
yeah, when he was like, no man can kill me, and she took off her helmet and she was like, I'm no man, and she stabs him right in the face. And
like I said,
so that was fun.
They were going for that stuff back then. It's not just right now. So everybody chill. It's okay for a female to have a badass moment. Ken, have you seen Hustlers? I have. We watched that together.
Yep.
Right? We watched that together. It was okay. I didn't love that one. Jeff Assassin said, hi, Michelle and Ken. I couldn't really enjoy Fear Street that much. Much too teenage drama for me, and I'm way past my teenage years.
I can totally see that.
We were talking about that the other day as far as like teenage movies are different for us to watch now.
Yeah. I do find myself getting more annoyed.
Yeah.
With like teenage drama.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I know what you mean.
Yeah, we're getting old. That's why. Hustlers was surprisingly good. It wasn't bad. I think it just got hyped too high for me, and then when we watched it, I was like, that was okay.
Yeah.
Rev 4K says, I liked Hustlers more than I thought I would. AJ Rack says, Frodo is very annoying at times. Sam is the GOAT. I agree.
Oh, yeah. And also a fun little thing to say is that, like you said, our son hated Frodo, and he kept like talking shit about him. But he kept calling him Frito-Lay.
Yeah, he kept calling him Frito-Lay.
And I'm like, you have ruined Frodo for me.
Yeah, Frito-Lay.
And just every time he's like, he kept saying like, why can't Sam carry the ring? Like, he's better. And we're like, because Frodo is the only one who can do it.
Yeah, I said if Sam would have carried the ring, then you wouldn't have liked Sam, because he would have turned into a dick too. AD Rex 2 says Gandalf is awesome, but he leaves the group a lot. Same with the hobbits.
But he's out doing other stuff. He's out gathering more troops, and he died technically.
He is the true GOAT of Lord of the Rings.
He went from Gandalf the Grey to Gandalf the White.
Yeah.
Right?
You're right. Let's see. I bet Rev, my friends, you bow to no one. Literal chill. Yeah.
Oh, yes. I just got chills right now, actually.
I had to hold back tears for that one. That one got me.
Yeah.
AJ Rex 2 says
awesome.
Hustler's story is way more interesting than Zola. They're two different. They're two very different movies. I don't think you can compare those two at all. I mean, there's the obvious comparison of strippers, but other than that, they're just directly completely different. Basement Blue says, I watched Fear Street and it was just okay. I will watch the other two also. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the 70s one. 4KD Red said, shared the stream. Have a good night. Well, thank you, man. I appreciate that. Appreciate that very much. Let's move on to, I got Loki episode 4, which we can talk about briefly, and then we'll get to Till Death talking about that. But Loki episode 4, do you even remember it?
Yeah, I do.
All I remember off the top of my head is the alligator at the end with the Loki helmet.
So yeah,
the timekeepers.
I mean, yeah, are we allowed to talk about that?
We can talk some light. We could talk spoilers. It's Loki. I mean, if most of you all have probably already seen it.
So if you haven't seen Loki, you might not want to listen to this part. But yeah, I mean,
just give us like 2 minutes.
The biggest thing is we got to go up to where the timekeepers are. And there's like a big fight scene between the girl Loki.
Yeah.
Was Owen Wilson up there? No, he had already been, I forget what they called it. He had already been taken out, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, well, I guess that would have been the first thing to talk about.
Yeah.
But yeah, the big thing is that the fight scene, I think it's Loki, right? He's the one that like throws the sword up there, and one of the timekeeper's heads flies off, and he picks it up, and it's like a damn animatronic. And so it's like they're not even real. They've been programmed, and now they have to figure out who is in charge of those.
Yeah, I thought that was a little bit anticlimactic, but we'll see.
I thought it was kind of cool. When they first showed them, I thought they were like legit people, and I was like, what the hell is this shit? Like,
Yeah.
It looked.
They looked like they were animatronics when they walked in there. Like they had.
See,
that
I just
vibe
thought
to them.
I thought they looked super, just like kind of Star Warsy, like alien Star Warsy weird crap.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's. I mean, I feel like I was kind of anticipating that the timekeeper, there was something going on with the timekeepers.
Yeah.
But
I wonder if they're going to be real at all, or they're just saying that they don't exist at all. Like, was that just not them there? Are they somewhere else? Or are they trying to say that the whole thing's bullshit? It's all bullshit. And but like, who's really behind the scenes manipulating everything?
Yeah, like, is it the one girl?
Who created the TVA? Like, these are all questions that I have that hopefully they'll answer in the last 2 episodes. But
right.
I enjoyed the episode though. It was good. The whole show's been good for me so far. I haven't no real complaints.
Right.
But I do know that if they don't bring Owen Wilson back next episode, I will be upset.
Right.
Yes, the spoilers. The episode is a week old. Yeah, no, I try to be sensitive to people, but yeah, it's episode
pruned.
5 comes out tomorrow.
Thank you. Pruned. Yes.
He got pruned.
So he got pruned.
Is that what they called it?
Yep.
Pruned.
Pruned.
I wonder how this show is going to play out. It's going to be interesting. Like I said, it's to me, it's better than the other 2. I would say. Yeah. Michelle uses Star Wars as a negative adjective. Yeah.
AJ, I don't love Star Wars.
She's not a Star Wars fan.
I say all the time it's extremely overrated.
Yeah, it's a good episode.
You want to know what I think about Star Wars, AJ? I think Zola is better than Star Wars.
Oh my God. And with that, let's talk about Till Death. Megan Fox. Is she making a comeback?
Not quite.
Not quite. Not quite with the straight to VOD horror thrillers.
Are you? You seem like you think she is.
No, I mean she's. I'm trying to think. I feel like she was in something else recently. There was a title that went like straight to Blu-ray or DVD.
Maybe.
But I didn't watch it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else recently that she was in that we watched because I feel like there is.
Well, I told you this. I feel like she is a actress that is like very over sexualized.
Mm-hmm.
She's like
obviously from the Transformers. We all remember
Jennifer's Body.
Jennifer's Body, yeah. Jennifer's Body is a good little horror movie though.
Well, yeah. So all of that to say, I do feel like horror. Like if she's going to be an actress, I think horror is like her niche.
Yeah. I've heard that she was funny in This Is 40. She was pretty funny in that.
I mean,
and I've heard that she was good in like that New Girl show, like as far as like comedy.
She was in that?
Yeah, she was apparently in that like in the later seasons.
Oh.
So I mean I haven't watched the show, so I don't know. But
yeah, I don't know. She yeah, this movie, I don't know. I feel like
this is the most recent one we watched. We watched this one last night. So
there were parts where I feel like she wasn't good. And then there were parts where I felt like she was. Like in the beginning, some of it was just kind of like corny and not good. But then there were scenes later on where like she was believable. I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get it.
Yeah. And I mean, you could, I don't know. What do you think about it?
So, I mean, the movie wasn't like, I wouldn't say it was great. We paid $7 to rent it. That's what it's available on right now. It's on Vudu and Amazon Prime. It's a rental streaming thing, like a premium access type of deal. But $7, I don't know if I could recommend it for $7. It was okay.
You keep doing stuff with your hands over here.
It was okay. I don't know. It's tough. I do think it was good in parts.
Yeah, there were like fun scenes. Like I don't know, the one part where she's like trying to figure out, a way to get out or whatever. And she like falls back into the snow. Like, yeah. I mean, it was kind of like unbelievable.
Yeah, it got
That
a
they
little
wouldn't-
goofy in like the last half hour when they were doing the cat and mouse thing around the house, and like she kept finding ways to like hide and stuff.
Right. It was a little unbelievable sometimes, but yeah, like I said,
so this movie to me was like, it felt like Gerald's Game in like the beginning, and then it started to feel like Saul, with just him like controlling everything from behind, from death pretty
true,
much.
yeah.
And then like after that, it just turns into this kind of like home invasion thriller, and so it's a lot of different things in one, and it executes on all of them pretty good. Yeah, it's a good movie. I think it's solid. I don't know if I could recommend $7 for it, but 3 to 4 a rental for sure. If this comes out
cold?
if this comes out on Blu-ray, I might pick it up.
Really?
So,
I'm
yeah.
not surprised he picks up everything.
But I pick up everything. So but yeah, it's like it was fun. Do you have anything else you want to say about it?
Yeah, I mean, it was okay. Like I said, there were parts that you could definitely feel it was like straight to VOD or whatever.
Yeah.
But then there are parts.
There's some good gore in it.
Yeah.
There was some good gore in it, and I did think that the setup was, because I didn't know anything about it. Like I said, I don't watch trailers. I didn't read the premise. I was just like, I've heard good things.
And see, I do. So I knew the whole like Gerald's Game.
I didn't know that the guy, I don't want to spoil anything because it's a new movie, but there's something that happens to her husband at the beginning, and you go from there. Obviously, I said Gerald's Game, so you can,
if you've seen that,
take that for what you
read
will.
that,
So
or, yeah.
but yeah, it's solid. It's solid. I would give it a 3.5 out of 5.
Okay.
I would give it a 3.5 out of 5. What would you give it?
I don't know.
I want to put you on the spot.
I don't know.
Since you keep putting me on the spot for playing with my hands.
I know he's like digging
I get
hands
cold.
down on his
like
crotch.
my hands get cold, so I have to find a place to put them.
It's like very distracting though, because I'm like, what are you doing? He's like giving me like signs down here, symbols.
Do this.
Sign
It's
language.
like yeah, it's cold.
It is cold, hence why I'm wearing a sweatshirt in July. But
that's the one good thing about the basement is, it's hot as hell outside, but you always come down here, it's freezing. So
yeah, I don't know. I'm like mixed on it. I don't love Megan Fox, so I think that might like hinder what I think about it.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I hate the like over sexualization of her, and like she definitely like tries to sell that part of her.
Yeah.
She's like very like pouty with all of her facial expressions, and just like even in this movie when she would walk, like she was going for a very like sexy person. I don't know. And
I would also say another thing. Well, can finish your thing.
Oh no, I'm good.
I would say, like, you remember the movie Revenge, which I love that movie. We watched it together.
Yeah.
There was a little bit of that in it as well, but I don't think she sold the badassness of that performance as well. Just in terms of like the things that were happening to her throughout the film, and how like it became like unrealistic that she would be able to continue on from that. And then the one scene at the end, which I don't want to spoil, that happens, was just very unrealistic. I feel like she would have died in that. But yeah, there was just things that happened to her. She was getting beat up. She was getting cut up and just all kinds of stuff. And she just kept on moving along, and she got frostbite on her feet and all this stuff. Like, there's no way she'd been able to keep walking. But so yeah, it kind of had that over dramatized like violence. And
yeah, I mean, I might give it a 3. But I'm not, I don't know.
Give it a 2.5.
Maybe like a 2.75.
Dang, I didn't realize you hated the movie so much.
I don't know. Dang. I'd probably give it a 3 if I ignore the fact that I don't love her.
I think it's a movie that a lot of horror fans, a lot of thriller fans are really going to eat up and love. I liked it. I'll say that. I liked it. It was okay. Solid. What did I give it? I give it 3.5. I give it 3.5. It was better than Fear Street for me. I liked it better than Fear Street.
Yeah.
So I'll say that. But
AJ, I probably did too, though, honestly.
Yeah, I liked it better than Fear Street, so I'll give it. I gave Fear Street a 3, so I give this one a 3.5. I'll give it 3.5. AJ Reacts 2 says Megan Fox seems like she is trying to make a comeback. She said she wants to be in the MCU.
Oh, God.
I don't know. I mean, maybe an alien or something. I don't know.
An alien.
I don't see her like selling like a badass female superhero role. But then again, like I'm not a huge fan of Brie Larson either. So
look at who we got. We got Scarlett Johansson, which I also hate.
Hate's a strong word. You really hate her?
I mean,
you ready to go on record and say that you hate Scarlett Johansson?
I don't care for her. Not excited about Black Widow in the least.
Yeah. We will not be doing a theater reaction for that one.
Yeah.
Maybe me and Liam will do a theater reaction.
I mean, I'm not saying that I don't want to like see it eventually, but yeah, I don't know.
You're not too into the MCU anyway.
Well, I feel like when we're talking about like the women superheroes or whatever, I feel like they haven't like really found an amazing one yet.
Yeah, Gal Gadot's good as Wonder Woman if you're going DC.
Yeah, I mean,
but Wonder Woman 84 was a steaming pile of dog crap. So
right.
They took one step forward and then 2 steps back.
Yeah, I know. The first one was so good, and then after the second one, So I don't know. I feel like for me anyway, as far as like women,
I think Zoe Saldana as Gamora is pretty good. I like Nebula. Karen Gillan is Nebula.
I just feel like they're also,
but they're aliens. They're not like they got makeup on and prosthetics and everything.
I feel like is your computer dying?
It's getting there, but we're almost getting ready to wrap up, so we should be okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like they're all kind of meh.
Yeah.
And I'm not impressed with any of them.
They are meh. So Jerry Runner says, yo, welcome, Jared. Thank you for joining. AJ Rax 2 says she was in New Girl for maybe like 11 episodes while Zoe Deschanel was on maternity leave. Okay, so she took over. That's interesting. I didn't know that. AJ Rax 2 says, if the film casted another lead, would you have liked it more, Michelle? That's an interesting question. Do you think so?
Possibly. It depends on who it was.
Yeah, if it was Scarlett Johansson, probably not.
No.
But yeah, I'm trying to think of who would have done a good job in that role. Maybe Amaya Hawke would have done pretty good in it.
Maybe.
I don't know. I feel like she had to be that character had to be like the snobby, like rich wife. I don't know. I feel like it had to be like a character.
She actually
like
wasn't snobby.
Yeah, well, I mean, she had a past, which they didn't do a good enough job of really explaining her past and her trauma and all that stuff in the movie. And then they brought it back, and then she didn't even seem that freaked out when she saw them again. The fact that she was able to move on and do all the stuff she did after that was kind of strange.
And it's like, how was her husband like that messed up?
Yeah, it didn't make too. But again, yeah, I mean, it's.
Oh, well, it's neither here nor there.
Sometimes you don't have to know everything. Sometimes you just take a movie for what it is.
Yeah.
And like, damn, like she must have really messed you up, all that because she cheated on you. Like, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Because it was rough what he did to her. But yeah, with that, we're done. We're done with all the reviews.
His laptop's going dead, guys. He's an amateur, apparently.
I mean, I got the plug-in in there. I could go get it, plug us back in. We can keep on going live.
Talk about good. More stuff. It's been about an hour, so
yeah, been about an hour. We talked about Fear Street. We talked about Tomorrowland. We talked about Zola, Till Death, Return of the King. So let's take Return of the King off the table. What was your favorite new release that we watched in the past 4 days or week?
The Tomorrow War.
Tomorrow War.
Yeah.
I think mine would be Zola, and then I go Tomorrow War, and then I would go Till Death, and then I would go Fear Street.
Gotcha.
That's what I would do.
Yeah, I think with Zola, so we saw that in theaters, obviously, and we were the only ones in there.
Yeah.
And I personally don't like that. It like freaks me out.
Were we the only ones? We were the only ones in there. We didn't talk about our drive-in. We saw Boss Baby Family Business.
Yeah.
We went to the drive-in over the weekend, and that was your first time going to the drive-in.
We don't want to die mid-conversation.
It's not going to die. It'll be okay.
But yeah, so I think that might have taken away.
And if it does, see y'all later. Please subscribe.
Right. I think that might have taken away my enjoyment a little bit from ZOLA, even though I did enjoy it. But I don't know.
You're very weird about that kind of stuff.
Yeah. It's like I don't want a packed theater.
And the whole thing that happened with The Dark Knight Rises made it so much. You were like that anyway,
right,
but it made it so much worse after that.
Yeah, I am like so paranoid, like watching people come in, and I'm always looking for like weirdos, and I'm like, oh my God, are they about to kill us all?
So weird.
It's terrible, guys. But yeah, so I didn't love that we were all alone in there. So like I said, I think that is why it was not my favorite.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyway, we did go to the drive-in, and
it was really fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
it was a cool drive-in.
Yeah, it was super fun. Our kids had not been before. I do not think I've been before. If I've been, I don't remember. But I told him he had to work, but I'm like, hey, when you get home, do you want to go to the drive-in? They're showing Boss Baby and Peter Rabbit.
A little bit less enjoyable because I'd been up since 4:30 in the morning, but
right. But he was off the next day, so he was down for it. And it doesn't start until like 9:30 when it gets dark. But yeah, it was just like I think you go more for the experience, not necessarily the movie. At least that's how it was for us.
Like you hadn't been before, so you didn't know what it was like listening on the speakers and everything.
It's like I did and I didn't, because you see it on like movies and stuff. But it was just super fun. Our kids loved it. We were a little unprepared. We stopped and got like a couple of those like pop-up chairs.
Well, it got super cold.
Yeah,
and we didn't bring any blankets or anything.
We had like one small blanket that was our daughter's, but like the rest of us were kind of cold. Luckily, I did have on a sweatshirt, so that helped. But I also had shorts on, and so anyway. But lesson learned for next time. But I definitely want to go again. It's like it's just fun because it's like kind of like going back in time a little bit. They had like this really fun concession stand, tons of food, snacks. It's just like a really fun, good time.
So we watched Boss Baby, which I couldn't say anything about. The plot was super convoluted, and just like the first one.
He wasn't really paying attention now.
Yeah, I wasn't really paying attention all that much, even though I wasn't on my phone or nothing. Like I was watching the movie, but I got to the concession stand for like 20 minutes when it started. And I missed a lot of the plot. But trying to figure out a plot to an animated DreamWorks movie shouldn't be that hard, but apparently it was.
I do think the first one was better though.
Yeah, but we had Boss Baby going on, and then like it had two screens, so I looked behind me, and then we have Fast 9 playing. So every now and then I would look back, and I would see like what they were doing in Fast 9.
And sometimes you could like hear it a little bit, like whenever there was a race scene in the movie.
It did look like it was action packed.
Yeah, and so we would like look back, and we saw like bits and pieces of it.
I looked back, and I seen Tyrese and Ludacris in the spaceships, the spacesuits, and I was like, oh god, they're going for space now. But then Peter Rabbit started and everybody wanted to go home.
Yeah, it was like, 45 to 50 minutes away. So we didn't get home until
almost 1.
Like 1 a.m. So
if we would have saw Peter Rabbit, it would have been like 2:30.
Right. Our kids are like night owls anyway. But it was, like I said, because we were a little unprepared. We're like, let's just go ahead and go home. At that point, it was too hard to focus to watch Peter Rabbit. So so if you haven't been to a drive-in ever or recently, I would highly suggest going.
Yeah, and the concessions were pretty cheap too, like compared to regular movie places. We got
so much food for like under $20. Like, they had hot dogs and hamburgers and cheeseburgers.
I think wasn't the big tub of popcorn. I think it was $5. And
it was
the hot dogs are like $1.50. Like it was good prices.
And just all kinds of stuff, cotton candy, and just way more affordable. And I feel like tastier. I don't know. It was super fun. And then we went on 4th of July weekend. So that was like one other thing is, fireworks were going off. So we kept like hearing them.
And then a train came.
And then
the train was like right behind the theater screen.
Right. But like it still, like, I don't know, it really didn't take that much away from it.
Well, the train came like right when we were getting ready to leave.
Right. So yeah, I don't know. It was just super fun. So
yeah,
I think fun. That our kids definitely want to go back again. So
I enjoyed it. Tiana says shark movies next week. Maybe it is Shark Week.
I know, I saw that. Yeah.
Maybe we could watch Jaws 2.
Did I?
Or The Shallows. I bought The Shallows today on Blu-ray. Spoiler alert for one of my hunts later on this week.
But I think I've seen that.
Yeah, I think you have too.
But have I seen The Meg?
Nope.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Nope. I don't think that you have seen The Meg.
But yeah. So yeah,
I need to buy The Meg. I don't have The Meg. Tony said, I enjoyed the Tomorrow War. I also like having the theater to myself, no phones and no distractions. Yeah. If you have a lot of that going on in your area, I don't feel like we have a lot of that problems with a lot of that stuff when we go to the theaters, like people distracting us anymore.
Not so much anymore. It might have to do with the time that we go, or
yeah, we usually go like
the
early
movies
evening,
that we
5,
see.
6 or something like that.
Yeah.
I used to go in the morning, so
I do remember it being like a real issue.
Yeah.
And getting super pissed off.
You used to get up and just straight up yell at people.
Wow.
I would never do that. I would just walk away.
I wasn't like up.
Well, we talked about this before, I think, on a stream where you're like, Kim won't say nothing. He'll just sit there. But I did say something to people.
I eventually got to the point where I like turned around and I'm like, can you please stop?
Yeah.
And, they like the type of people who act like that are the type of people who won't care. And they just kind of like laugh at you and they're like, shut up, bitch. Like,
pretty much.
I'm not being quiet.
Pretty much. But
so
that's why I love you. But AJ Rex says, this was an awesome stream. Talk to you folks soon. Yeah, thank you for joining, AJ. We appreciate you being here, man. And Basement Blue says, enjoy the rest of your week. You too. We absolutely will. So yeah, with that, guys, we are done with the stream. Hold on, one more from Tony. I yell at people in my head. I wish I was brave enough because I would. Yeah, you're pretty much like me, Tony. But yeah,
I can see Tony like.
God damn it. But yeah, guys, I appreciate you joining us here tonight on Married with Media Live. This is I billed this one as episode 2. So
yeah,
whether or not we're back next week, it depends on how many movies we watch. We got to have some stuff to talk about. So we appreciate everybody joining. Please be sure to smash that like button. Also, subscribe to our channel.
Yeah.
If for some reason you found this stream and you haven't subscribed yet, please hit the subscribe button.
Yes.
And was that everything? Subscribe, like, turn on bell notifications for all of those future streams and videos.
Follow us on Instagram.
Follow us on our Instagram. We're always updating, letting you all know what we're watching and all that stuff.
Link is down in the description.
Link is in description. Yep. And yeah, guys, we'll see you later.